In today's tutorial, I will teach you how to reuse your shader and your material efficiently. Most of the package out there, if you want to change the color, the base color, or the roughness or metallic value, you either need to create a new material or duplicate an existing material and then apply it on your object. In using Energy, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is to create one single material with one single shader and specify on a per object basis the uniform value you want that object to use. We're going to create an example of that right away. I'm going to edit my second render layer by selecting my viewport and pressing Shift and 2. I am going to place my cursor here and I'm going to drag Mr. Cube right over the viewport. Instantly, I can see that now the cube is on that render layer. I am going to go under Static Mesh Properties, LOD, and for Geometry, render layer, I will select the material name Textured. And as I apply it on my cube here, I can see that I'm getting feedback right away. I am going to now enter render view by pressing space bar, and I am going to start running the time so I can actually get some live feedback in my viewport without starting my application. As you can see, the cube is using the exact same material as the floor. And now if we go under material properties and shader slot box user variable, we can see that for this specific shader, we have a bunch of user variable that allow us to tweak the tiling, roughness, metallic, and color. And as I change that, this tile value, I can see that the floor and the cube is changing. I don't want that. I simply want to have a specific value for my cube that is independent from the default user variable set for that particular shader. So to do that, I'm going to go under Object Properties and I'm going to scroll all the way down to Member Variables. Member variables are user-defined variables that can be used in script, in plugins, and also shaders. So I'm going to add a new variable of the type float. I'm going to access its properties, and I am going to call that value tile. And I am going to click that button here that will send to the pipeline that this variable will be used as a uniform variable for the shader that is currently connected to that object. I am going to set a minimum value of 1 and 5, and as I confirm, right away I can see that the tiling on my cube have changed, and I can now freely change the tiling for this cube without affecting the tile that I set for my floor here. I'm going to set the value of 1.5. I'm going to add a new variable that I'm going to call roughness this time. Roughness, specify that it will be used as a uniform, a range of 0 to 1. I am going to add another variable that is called metallic, and that will drastically change the look of our variable, of our object here. Specify that the variable is a uniform, confirm. And finally, I'm going to create a color that is named color, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. And now I am able to change the metallic roughness of my cube and its color without affecting the default properties, the default values that have been set in my texture shader, which are the default value if you apply that material on a new object like we did earlier. These are the value that will be used, and if we specify them as member variable of the type uniform, these one will be sent over to the shader and will be specific for this specific material, for this specific object using the material. So what that means is you can have basically a very small amount of materials that are connected to shaders, and through variables you can specifically set how that material would look like on a per object basis.